back to another episode of the It's Just Different podcast, man. And before we get started, I would say subscribe and hit that notification bell. But first things first, Happy New Year to everybody. Yes, man, we are back. The NFL season is over. And before I thought about doing this video, some news hit for the Minnesota Vikings that Gary Kubiak is leaning towards retirement, which I heard from ESPN's Courtney Cronin a few days ago that this is like a possibility. So I'm not so much surprised or whatever. But I will tell you this. 6 OCs in 6 seasons for Mike Zimmer does not look well. I just made the comment to a friend a minute ago that I've never seen a coach lose that many OCs within that time span and keep his job, other than Nick Saban, who's out in Alabama winning championships and might win another one, and lost his OC again. So I don't get it. But hey, the Mike Zimmer extension kicks in this very next season, so I think is he safe for another year? Yeah, but I think with all the moving parts that's going to happen this season, if we turn out to be bad again, especially on defense, he has to go. That's just the thing. The being average or just being on the verge of a playoff team every other year is just not good enough. I understand it makes you relevant, but it doesn't make you anywhere near a contender. But hey, man, it's time for off-season things. So you're gonna get a lot of videos coming up about drafts, trades, whatever, cuts, releases. Guys being dealt for cap casualty reasons, and also free agency. We don't have a lot of money, but there's going to be moves made. We all know there's going to be moves made to free up some money. I will get into those numbers on another video specifically because I'm not that good at it. I'll have to actually break it down myself. But I was looking at Tankathon's draft, mock draft and the draft board, and I was looking at where the Minnesota Vikings are slated to pick at the number 14th pick. So just looking at the big board, I have it right here on my screen. Just looking at the big board, of course you got Trevor Lawrence at number 1, Penei Sewell at 2, Zach Wilson, who's in some people's estimations is going to get drafted before Justin Fields. I think it depends on the team, specifically, to be honest with you. And you have Jamar Chase. We all know how great he is. Micah Parsons, Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, Caleb Farley, and Gregory Rousseau. Those are the top 10. All right, so after that, you go Trey Lance, Jalen Waddle, Kwity Paye from Michigan, Kyle Pitts from Florida, Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, offensive tackle, Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle from Virginia Tech, J.C. Horn, cornerback from South Carolina, Wyatt Davis, the inside guard. I think it's a right guard for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Didn't have the greatest game against Clemson, but hey, who cares? They obliterated the Tigers. So you have a bunch of guys here that how the draft goes. We all know how drafts go. It's going to be flipped by the time Minnesota gets to their pick. It's going to be some guys that are going to fall. There are going to be some guys that's picked fast, picked early, because another team just don't want to wait and they have picks to trade up, which means when teams start trading, that someone's going to fall. Now, before I turned this record button on, I looked at 3 different mock drafts, right? And obviously Trevor Lawrence is one in every one of them. Like, for example, I'm going to show you this one. I'm going to talk about this one. I'm sorry. And this one, Tankathon has the Jets drafting Zach Wilson. Now, the report came out yesterday that the Jets are going to make a blockbuster trade. They're going to be very aggressive in the offseason. So, that to me sounds like Sam Darnold's going to be going. I don't know what else. Like, who do you have to move for a blockbuster trade unless you're trying to get someone in a blockbuster trade, which is weird, but for that team. But let's just say they do draft Zach Wilson and give away Sam Darnold. The Dolphins are at 3. Um, Penny Sewell, the offensive tackle monster from Oregon. I think he should go to Miami, but I looked at their offense yesterday. Their offense is horrible. Um, he don't have any. Tua doesn't have any weapons. I don't see them drafting a quarterback. Um, at least give him a shot with some weapons. That defense is pretty good, even though yesterday they got killed. Um, so what I would do is I'm going to change this on the fly. What I'll do is I'll put Jamar Chase at the third pick. Um, I wouldn't put Devontae Smith that high, but if somehow they slid somebody wanted the third pick and wanted Justin Fields because Atlanta's at 4, you might see somebody trade up. Uh, Philly's not going to trade up for him. Carolina maybe. That's interesting. Carolina maybe at 8. 8 to 3. I wonder what's the draft capital for that. But so with me pushing Jamar Chase up, that means he was slated to go to the Eagles at 6. So I don't think they will pick Devontae Smith at 6. They have like Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor is not as good as Devontae Smith, but I don't think you will grab 2 receivers in the first round who are pretty much similar. But hey, you got Jalen Hurts. So I'm okay. You know what? I'll give them Devontae Smith at 7, which will piss the Lions off because they need a receiver. So I don't see them unless they're going to draft Jalen Waddle. I don't see that happening at 7. So I'll give the Lions. Let's see here. Draft quarterback. I'll go Gregory Rousseau, which drops another player, which drops Micah Parsons. Well, no, the Bengals will pick Micah Parsons at 5. So in my mock draft, I have Trevor Lawrence so far, Penny Sewell, Jamar Chase, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons. That's my 5. At 6, I would go with Devontae Smith. 7, again, I go Gregory Rousseau. 8, they need offensive help in Carolina, but I'm gonna go Patrick Surtain. Yeah, it says mention the thing. Denver's gonna draft a quarterback. Got to be Trey Lance or either Mac Jones from Alabama. Dallas is gonna draft a corner at 10. Caleb Farley, Virginia Tech. Which means at 11, I think the Giants would draft Kwity Paye from Michigan. I hated that because I actually wanted him to go to Minnesota. But Carolina. I think San Francisco would draft a quarterback if it's one there that they want. So if Mac Jones falls or Trey Lance falls to them, I think they would draft either one of them. I think Jimmy G's done. Unless somehow they make a crazy trade for Kirk Cousins, which will not happen. But, hey, this is fantasy, right? Rashawn Slater to the Chargers, offensive tackle. Now, that leaves that leaves Minnesota, I'm sorry, at 14. And that means White Davis has fallen. Yeah, he's pretty much the only one that's fallen. Jalen Waddle was there. Kyle Pitts is there. Rashad Bateman. Mac Jones was already up there. So, J.C. Horn. Boy. I'm trying to figure out. There's not any great defensive tackles. So, if I'm Minnesota needs help on the defensive line. And Gregory Rousseau in this draft, Gregory Rousseau and Kwity Paye both will be off the board. So, you have, they're not going to draft, either going to draft offensive lineman or an offensive tackle. I think Ezra Cleveland is going to be the future left tackle, which I don't understand why he didn't play any snaps at left tackle yesterday. I'm not going to get into that. That's what they do. So here's the deal. Free agency, I think, is going to depend a lot on what they do here at 14 because I think that they need a lot of defensive help. That whole defensive line needs to just be over with. I mean, DJ Wanham I think has a great future. James Lynch didn't get a lot of playing time, but I think he's pretty good. Um, Down the line, I think he'd be pretty good. Not right now. Um, but they need guard help bad, right? And if you're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a quarterback, you have to find guards. There's no reason why you have the number one guards on each side being the worst in the NFL. We're talking about Drew Samia, then you're talking about Dakota Dozier. That's bad. Like, there's no way in hell that should happen on one team, but it did for the Minnesota Vikings. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say that in free agency they make some moves and they throw a boatload of money at offensive guard Joe Thuney, who's at the New England Patriots. I don't think New England's going to pay him that much money. Bill Belichick does not pay money like that, especially for an offensive lineman. I think Minnesota's going to throw money at him. So in this fantasy mock draft thing, because it's going to be changing forever, I'll go Joe Thuney at left guard, and at right guard I'm drafting Wyatt Davis from Ohio State. And I am shoring up my offensive line. Minnesota had the number 5 total offense in the NFL. That shocked me when I heard that stat. But they could have been easily top 3 if they didn't throw the ball so much. I mean, they didn't run the ball so damn much. You have Justin Jefferson, who broke the rookie record, all-time rookie record in receiving. And for some reason, we wanted to run Dalvin Cook into the ground to justify the contract that you gave him. Okay. First of all, in the NFL, you run the ball to keep a lead, right? You don't start the game running the ball all half. Minnesota runs the ball the most, and one of the most teams in the NFL. I think Titans may even be lower than Minnesota when it comes to running the ball in the first half. Minnesota throws it, opens the playbook in the second half because we're usually down. And we have to make some type of, not a big comeback, but, 6-7 points, whatever. And Minnesota's been great at that. Kirk Cousins only threw 2 interceptions after the bye week. So, I don't get why we stuck to this run thing. But I think you shore up the middle of that offensive line, and you let our offensive weapons do what they do. I could have easily just said draft Jalen Waddle. I'm not going to do that, but I honestly will tell you this. At some point, looking at these drafts and looking at free agencies, and a lot of tampering goes on. You're going to know where guys are going to go before they actually sign the contracts. I'm pretty sure at some point I want to say draft Jalen Waddle at 14. I'm pretty sure of that. Because I think the way the NFL is, you need a guy. You need not necessarily, Tyreek Hill has blossomed into a great receiver. But you need a guy like that. You need a guy that's like Henry Ruggs in Vegas. It's like, just go. Get down the field. I don't really care what route you're running. Just run past people. You're that fast, just go. And I think that can open up offenses. And that's how Kansas City is so good. They have so much speed on the field. It's like, I'm going to run guys as far as I can, and somebody's going to be wide open underneath. It's usually Travis Kelce. So, yeah, man, this little iteration of the draft at 14, I would draft if we stood pat, which I don't, again, it's going to be my first video of my draft talk, but I think Rick Spielman will try to slide down, but Wyatt Davis is a great offensive lineman, but I kind of get the shakes because remember Pat Elflein came out, he was pretty good, and we've seen how that went. But yeah, man, at 14, if nobody's there that we really need, like a cornerback or defensive end, I'll go Wyatt Davis. Wyatt Davis to the Minnesota Vikings, and again, that has to be with Joe Thuney already being signed, because I'm not just drafting this guy and hoping he fixes all my problems by himself. No. But hey, yeah, man. That's this video. That's the video for today. We'll talk a lot more about Minnesota coming up here. I don't want to get started on who I think the new OC should be. Not just yet. I think Clint Kubiak will be the new OC. He's the quarterback coach right now. But we'll see what happens in these next, however long it takes for them to pick an OC. But you already know Mike Zimmer's going to want a guy who wants to run the ball. And hey, man, I'm getting sick and tired of it. I really am, man. I'm getting sick and tired of watching teams. Even the Chicago Bears let Mr. Trubisky just throw the ball, and even though he can't read a defense to save his life. Hey, they'll make some very nice routes, you know what I'm saying, and at least attempt to let him throw the ball, but he sucks. So we'll see what happens, man. The Minnesota Vikings finished the season 7-9, which is not good, but we easily could have won a few more games. We know how that goes. One play here, one play there. But hey, man, season's over. A lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done for Minnesota. And we'll see, man. That's the video, man. Nice talking to y'all, man. Peace.